everyone, it's Skill Up here with another Destiny video. This is part 2 of my top 10 things that Division players are probably going to like about Destiny series. I put the other video up yesterday and the link is in the description below, so if you haven't checked that one out yet, check that one out first before watching this one. But the intent of this series is basically to highlight some of the things that Division players might like about Destiny, either because the Division does this thing really well and so does Destiny, and so you get sort of more of what you like, or maybe because the Division does something particularly poorly and Destiny happens to do it properly. So if you like this video, guys, be sure to drop it a like, and with that, let's get stuck into number 6 on this list, which is vendors. Now, as someone that has done a weekly review of the vendors and what they're selling each week for the Division, I can confidently say one thing: Division vendors really suck. Every week we hope for 1 or 2 really well-rolled items that we can use our Dark Zone or our Phoenix credits on, and every week we are sorely disappointed. While I'm sure that Massive will improve this system in future, right now it is definitely not great. Destiny, on the other hand, has a really fantastic vendor system in place. First up, there are a number of basic vendors that sell a variety of gear and weapons with a variety of different talent roles, so you can actually pick up some great items there if you know what you're looking for, such as, for example, the Hung Jury, which was unquestionably the best legendary weapon in the entire Taken King expansion, obtained from a vendor of all things. The bonus round each week on this is this guy, Xur. Now, Xur is a special NPC that rocks up between Friday and Sunday, and Xur sells the really good stuff. He sells exotic weapons and gear, and exotic weapons are sort of like named weapons in the Division. The only difference is that they're actually good. You pay for it using these things called strange coins, which are a rare currency that you will get just from playing the game, doing any old activity. And that works really well as his inventory actually rotates across the entire spectrum of exotic items available in the game, meaning that if RNG is against you and you're still getting, you're not getting the items that you want, you will get all or most of the items that you're chasing eventually just by buying them from Xur. So the vendor series kind of smooths out the pain of RNG. It's definitely something that Destiny's done quite well. Number 7 on the list, something that I'm sure many people will appreciate, and that is balanced PvP. Right, so PvP, there is a lot to say on this subject. I don't want to start a flame war here, so I'll keep it brief. PvP in the Division is not great. Putting aside the inherent imbalances of the DZ experience, like geared groups or being sniped by a shotgunner or overpowered NPCs or whatever, the actual PvP combat itself leaves much to be desired. It's a mess of overpowered abilities, clunky controls, and way too much rolling around. I'm not going to say that Destiny's PvP is perfect, but at this point I will say that it's quite solid. It is balanced, it is generally quite consistent, and is certainly fun. There's a real skill cap factor at play here that you can confidently dominate matches if you have the required skill and map knowledge. PvP happens in dedicated PvP modes in Destiny. There is no open world PvP whatsoever, and its game modes are things like Capture the Flag or King of the Hill or all that sort of stuff you're quite familiar with. There's no ranking system or ladders, so it's all just for fun, but it's pretty great if you just want to chill out and have some good, clean fun. There's also a competitive 3v3 elimination mode called Trials of Osiris that asks you to win 9 matches in a row to collect very good items. It's a very demanding challenge that many people really love about Destiny, even if only a small portion of the community are actually able to win those 9 matches in a row and make it to the elusive lighthouse. And finally, there's a monthly PvP tournament called the Iron Banner, which runs for a full week and gives you plenty of very handsome looking loot to collect. For more casual players, this is often the only time that they PvP, and they kind of enjoy it because the loot makes it quite worth it, generally speaking. So yeah, PvP is not a thing in the Division yet, whereas it's well and truly a thing in Destiny at this point. And Bungie have just unveiled the inclusion of custom games in the next expansion, which would set up a huge platform for proper competitive organized play in the future. However, I mean, between Destiny and Division, you can't really compare the two because they're really trying to create totally different PvP experiences. But I can say that for now, if you want to make PvP a focus of your play, Destiny is going to do a much better job of delivering on that need. Number 8, the amazing story and lore. Now, one of the things that I think The Division has really nailed is its story and the way it tells that story through in-game recordings. If you actually sit back and listen to them, you get a real sense of the feeling that people were experiencing during the collapse of New York. There's a very rich narrative there that does bubble up to the surface in very interesting ways. Now, Destiny is a slightly different story. Destiny has this incredible story that the developers have done absolutely everything in their power to completely obscure from the player, and not in the cool Dark Souls way where you need to kind of figure it out. It's in the shitty, like, we forgot to add the story to the game kind of way that makes no sense at all, and all of the lore codices are actually only accessible from Bungie's website. Yes, you literally need to go to a separate website to read the story of the game. It's just crazy that it exists this way, but it does. So despite all of this, Destiny's lore is just amazing, and many people who still play the game do so for the incredible setting and the lore and the community that's sprung up around that. It's really worth checking out and sort of immersing yourself in that if that's your thing. And there are Destiny lore sort of YouTubers that are very focused on that. People like MyNameIsByf, who I'd really recommend checking out. Great guy and great content creator. Number 9, I have saved probably the best for second last, raids. So I remember just before the Division launch, there was heaps of anxiety on Reddit about whether or not the Division would have raids, because up until that point everyone assumed that there would be raids included because that sort of was communicated to us as a game feature in the lead up, and it was only when Massive kind of stopped talking about that we became a little bit suspicious. Of course, we've since learned that Massive were more interested in horde mode style incursions, which provide a different sort of challenge that not everyone has appreciated, and the Falcon Lost, etc. To be fair, it's a mixed bag. Falcon Lost is just an absolutely terrible soul-destroying bore, made even worse by the knowledge that the best gear in the game comes from there, so you sort of have to do it if you want best in-slot gear. Clear Sky is a much better deal, but it's still not ideal, and I think Dragon's Nest is actually significantly better than the both of them, and you get a real sense that Massive are beginning to find their stride with regards to how they want to design end-game experiences. The thing is, Bungie didn't need a run-up in this regard. Vanilla Destiny launched with one of the most universally revered endgame experiences ever, the Vault of Glass 6-man raid. An utterly unparalleled marvel of endgame design for console players, the Vault of Glass was the biggest reason why so many people stuck with Destiny for so long. The follow-up raid, Crota's End, was a big disappointment in comparison, but it was quite short and very unsatisfying, full of gimmicky mechanics and riddled with bugs, but the latest raid, King's Fall, is an absolute return to form, being a truly exceptional experience that you will continue to enjoy long after the first time you finish it. The raids are tremendously well tuned, fantastic challenge, great loot, incredible design and story coming through them, and all of them are sort of littered with all sorts of hints and secrets and little nooks and crannies to explore. It's a very different kind of experience from anything else you might have experienced before, and I'd really recommend checking out because this is something that Destiny absolutely nails. And finally, number 10 is the community around it. One of the things that's so surprising about Destiny is just how enduring the community is. Even at the lowest points of the game, when everyone was looking at this game and thinking, man, is this it? The community was still super rusted on and super passionate and super driven. Podcasts everywhere, tons of YouTubers, amazing fan art, cosplay, just so much passion and vibrancy around that community that I've really always looked at and really admired. I think it's something that the Division is really struggling with right now. Obviously, the player base has shrunk considerably, and I think even generally speaking, even at the height of its player base, there still wasn't the same level of connection or passion to the content, and the community didn't coalesce as strongly as it did for Destiny. Obviously, with Bungie and their pedigree with Halo, there was already a lot of people very excited about it. But it's just interesting to see how much the Destiny community sort of brought to the table and how quickly it did that when this game first emerged, and how loyal and devoted they are to this day. Honestly, if you're looking for a game where you feel like you're going to be able to meet friends, play with people regularly, immerse yourself in story, experience heaps of fan-made content, then Destiny has well and truly got you covered because there's no shortage of passionate fans for this one. Anyway guys, that's that's it. That's my list of top 10 things that I think Division players are really going to like about Destiny. I know this list is going to be controversial because Division and Destiny are both very controversial games, but I think that, as I said, if you're someone that's thinking about playing Destiny for the first time and you're a Division player, I think these are the things that you're going to look at and you're going to appreciate the most. There's going to be tons of other things that I haven't mentioned, and similarly, there's tons of great things about the Division that you're not going to be able to experience in Destiny. But I mean, that's just the beauty of being able to play different games. They all bring something different to the table. Either way, The Rise of Iron comes out on September 20th. I will be covering it head to toe, so you can obviously subscribe for plenty of that sort of coverage here. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.